The Boston Celtics headed back to the NBA Finals after sweeping the Eastern Conference Finals, beating the Pacers tonight 105-102. A lot to go over. First things first, though. Rest in peace, Bill Walton.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing seeing the outpour of love on social media and how many people throughout the basketball world, but fans and even people outside of basketball have a story about Bill Walton being awesome to them.
Andy Cohen from Bravo, for all my Real Housewife fans out there, he posted a photo with Bill Walton. It's just like, R.I.P., the coolest guy ever. And that's, I think, the coolest part about it. You're right. It's all the different communities that he can connect with and touch because he was just such a kind, loving person that was just full of life.
He made everyone feel special.
Yeah.
I know we both interacted with him during COVID. I connected with him to do an interview about the Kings-Lakers series from 2002. And, I'm thinking, maybe I'll get him for like 15, 20 minutes. I asked Bill Walton 3 questions. And he talked for 60 minutes. It was one of the highlights of my life. But Bill Walton, truly one of a kind. He was an awesome player. I didn't get to see him play, obviously. I'm not that old. But doing his broadcast work, he was a character. So
yeah, thinking of him and his family today. But rest in peace, Bill Walton.
Well, his old team, the Celtics, going back to the NBA Finals. This series has been so weird because the Pacers were just in it. They had so many opportunities to win games. Tonight, last game, game 1. We knew it was going to be hard when Tyrese Halliburton went down in game 2. The Celtics get it done. I thought Jaylen Brown this series was fantastic. He obviously won Eastern Conference MVP in this. 29.8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. What stood out to you about Jaylen?
I think you and I, whenever we watch Jaylen Brown, even throughout the season, we're always like, God, I just forget how strong he is. Like his strength to just battle through whatever the hell barrier is in front of him. And I don't know if he has just done this throughout this entire season or throughout this postseason, but I feel like he's learned how to capitalize on his strength. And you're seeing him be more and more aggressive with it and I guess controlled, where he knows he can get through someone and still stay poised and squared up and get something good out of it, or go through someone to find a better shot opportunity for someone else on his team. I just feel like he's using his strength the right way, in all of the right ways. And I just love the way that he was still being super aggressive on the offensive end.
And made impactful plays down the stretch on both ends. Pacers are up 102-98 with 3:32 to go. The Pacers do not score again. They go 0 for 4. They've got 2 turnovers. What a sequence it was. When the Celtics come out of that timeout and then tie the game at 102, after that, it was chaos. You had McConnell missing a good mid-range shot. Tatum gets a rebound, goes to outlet it to Holiday. Did it go off Holiday's face?
Holiday wasn't ready for it because I think he just thought that Tatum was... Tatum's capable of bringing it up. So he's like, you got it.
And then Siakam gets the ball. Then Brown comes over and steals it. White misses a 3. Then it was a second chance opportunity. Tatum takes a 3, misses it. And you're like, okay, is anyone going to slow down here and just get a good look? It was like kind of a frantic pace. Out of the timeout, Andrew Nembhard, who had a hell of a last 2 games without Tyrese Halliburton, gets downhill. Jaylen Brown blocks his shit at the rim. And then on the other end, attacks, gets into the paint, makes an amazing decision, kicking it to the corner. Derrick White 3-ball. That gave them the 105-102 lead.
In that decision alone, because he had Tatum a little higher up on the right, wing extended out, or he could get White in the corner. Not only is a corner 3 a better 3, but I just felt like with the way that Tatum was up and down with his 3-point shooting, even though he's a big shot maker, he's like, I can go to the other guy that I know can make a big shot, and especially because it's a corner 3. Great decision and just a great shot by Derrick White.
Yeah, Brown was awesome on both ends.
Yes, he was.
He won them the game with how he played down the stretch. It was a weird game, and I think there's a party that goes, man, it took the Celtics a lot to get past this team, this Pacers team. And of course the Celtics were going to be favored, no matter if Tyrese was there or not.
Yep.
I do give the Pacers a lot of credit. I think they pose a lot of problems for a Celtics team who they like to run guys off the line, right? They're helping, trying to recover. Well, this Pacers team is fast. They get up and down the floor. How many times did you see the Pacers just get cross-matched because of how they were pushing the ball? They were just taking advantage of some of the mismatches out there.
That was the most effective thing that they were doing, especially early on in this game. How many times did we see Pascal Siakam just getting big, posting up on Derrick White or Drew Holiday or whoever the hell else was back there because they were pushing the ball so fast. So those cross matches were coming. It was their best offense. And it was, I understand teams are going to make adjustments, especially really good teams like the Celtics, and they did, and they couldn't go to that as quick. Everyone's getting more and more tired throughout the game, but it was so dominant in the beginning that I just wish that they could have continued that, get Pascal Siakam the ball, especially in transition was my point.
Nembhard took some shots late. You're like, I don't know, but he was also playing so well.
He was.
I thought the other thing with the Pacers the last couple of games late is they play so fast, which is great, but I think sometimes in these close games, it gets a little chaotic when they're playing fast. It's like they go from playing controlled fast basketball where throughout the year they played fast too and they didn't turn the ball over late. But it seemed like in this series, late in games, the turnovers went up. Some of the shots were tough. They didn't know how to control the pace.
To me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong out there, to me, that's experience. That's understanding the moment. And a lot of them haven't been in that moment, right? To even control the basketball with some of their best players being out. So I think they were put in a great situation to obviously gain that experience and to learn from, but you had to make those mistakes to go through it. And you're exactly right. The chaotic nature in the plays, they weren't smart plays being done, right?
Everything felt rushed.
Go back to your fundamentals. Go back to a 2-footed jump stop. Go back to just even making sure that you know who's on your right, who's on your left. It was just like all those little things. You're exactly right. It just felt like, let's just effing go. And I know Carlisle was on the side going, go.
Right.
And I mean, JJ Redick mentions this every single time he calls a Pacers game, how they don't play in set plays. They like to play concept basketball where basically, it's just making sure that everyone's playing free. But when you're also missing one of your best guys, it's just you're putting a lot of trust in some of these younger players and asking a lot from them.
I guess, we talked about this a lot with the Kings, not this past year, the year before when they had the best offense in the NBA and they played with pace. But it's when you play so fast, it's not about, we got to rush and we got to rush to a shot. It's about just moving fast. And for most of the game, they do the right thing. The quick decisions, constant movement. But it felt like late in this game, it was rushed, quick shot, rush. Instead of honestly, to your point, I'm not saying slow it down to the crazy pace, but you know what? Let's run something for Siakam. Let's ISO him, get him the ball, and let him make a play out of it. Let's see how he handles a double team that comes. Let's see if we can get the ball and then the defense rotating a little bit and get a good look.
Because how many times did we see when the defense did have to kind of scramble and shift over? And not because the ball was getting pushed from basket to basket, but because of the way that the ball started moving from side to side. And I thought TJ did such a great job, obviously, of being aggressive, trying to make sure getting those paint touches are going in. But I forget what broken play this was, but then Obi Toppin is falling out of bounds, and you see the Celtics defense shift over, and Pascal Siakam is in the dunker spot. But then as soon as he sees TJ cut through, he kind of fills in TJ's spot in the paint, and it allowed Obi Toppin to get an easy pass to him, have him in his vision. And again, it was just like those kind of movements in a half court offense this Pacers team is capable of because of their concepts, because they're all smart players that play together. So yeah.
Well, and then the other thing, let's also just mention Celtics defense goes to the next level. I mean, I just talked about Nembhard getting downhill past Jaylen Brown, getting to the rim, and then he gets his shit blocked. That's just a great defensive play. What do you say about that? Nembhard didn't do anything wrong. He got to the basket. You tip your cap, go. Jaylen Brown made a hell of a play. And, Boston obviously was favored. They've been the odds-on favorite to get to the NBA Finals since the start of the year. They're supposed to be in this spot.
Yes.
They've done it without Porzingis, 12-2 in the playoffs, 9-1 without him.
Wow.
And he should be back for the NBA Finals that starts June 6th. They'll have plenty of time left. We talk about the defense, what Jaylen Brown did. I just want to highlight Derrick White for a second.
God. I was like, wait, you cannot not talk about the Celtics defense without talking about Derrick White almost on every single defensive possession.
I mean, I felt like there was a sequence in the third quarter. He had a steal on Turner and then took it for a jam. Then the next play down, Nesmith, turnaround jumper. It was just a great contest. Like, it was not a clean look for Nesmith, forced a miss. Then the other end, Isaiah Jackson made a hell of a play blocking Tatum. TJ McConnell's pushing in transition. He's getting all the way to the cup. Well, no, not so fast because Derrick White is there to block the shot. I mean, he just can suck the life out of you with his defensive plays. And there were times that, like, Siakam took advantage just from a size perspective, but his all-around feel defensively, not just one-on-one, his help defense, his length, his tenacity. What a pickup for them. And that was a move at the deadline. I was actually looking back at it during the game. A Celtics blog was killing the trade. What is Brad Stevens doing? Is he better than Evan Fournier? He didn't want to pay Fournier 4 years, $74 million, and he got a worse offensive player. Well, all of a sudden, Derrick White, in a trade that wasn't sexy at the time, right? Wasn't a sexy trade at the time, is now a two-time all-defensive guy. And he is such a vital part to a championship caliber team.
Yeah. And I mean, to the team, to their offense and their defense. And
not selfish either.
No. And that's what it's in. But not selfish, but also not afraid of the moment. Because not only did he have that big corner three to put them up and everything, but you think about how he makes other big shots, but he's not just going, I need to rely on Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, get them the ball and get out of their way. I hate when that becomes the game, right? Let them go ISO, because when you start going away from your team basketball is when you start going away from what got you there in the first place. So Derrick White is just one of those players that I think understands basketball to such a high level. He's a smart player. He makes such big plays because of his effort. He's always hustling. And yeah, I think there's even a moment for me, because I forget who it was talking after the game. They were like, oh, maybe it was JJ and Doris talking after the game. And they were saying like, yeah, I think even Jason Tatum or Drew could have been up there for MVP. And like, there's this weird thing in the back of my mind that I'm just like, yeah, but there's just something about Derrick White. Obviously not for MVP. I know people will shit on me for that, but I just think there's so many things that he does that doesn't go on the stat sheet that are so impactful every single game. It just wows me every time.
He had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 5 steals.
And the blocks, chase down blocks.
Morgan, 3 blocks, 5 steals. So that's on the stat sheet. Just wait till later when the deflections come out.
Yeah.
The guy is everywhere. He just makes shots more difficult for guys. Additionally, with the Celtics, Drew Holiday, I thought in this series was fantastic. I mean, I think they're, watching him this year, dealing with some of the stuff he had to deal with. You're wondering, okay, does he still have that ability to go get buckets?
Yeah.
In this series, he went and got buckets.
He did.
And I loved how aggressive he played. I think they needed his offense in this series, especially with how explosive the Pacers offense can be. It can't just be Tatum and Brown doing the thing. You guys have to lift, especially without Porzingis. And Holiday was massive. He finished tonight with 17 points. He had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and had that game-clinching rebound late. It's 105-102. I wanted to highlight this real fast because this was just a smart play, and this just speaks to like his basketball IQ, just knowing what the hell's going on. It's 105-102, and the Celtics have the ball. Tatum is going for another shot, right?
Okay.
With the clock winding down, he launches, and it was Turner on him. Nesmith at the last second kind of shades over, and right when that 3 was launched, so Nesmith slides over from Holiday right when that 3 was launched. Holiday goes crashing.
Oh, you're talking about like that final,
the final rebound. He just goes crashing, grabs that rebound, gets it up, seals the win. It was just a hell of a play. He didn't stand around. He's like, Tatum's launching. My guy just left me. I have free reign to the basket. I'm going to go get that ball. I may not be the biggest guy. I'm going to go get that ball. And I just love, he maybe, what was he, like 6'3"? but he plays so much bigger than that.
I mean, that play alone, like him going for that offensive rebound, like isn't even surprising, right? It's just like that's the way that his mind works when he's out there. He's always wanting to do something, making sure that he's remaining active defensively, offensively, getting a big board, whatever it is. And I think now too, whenever you talk about Drew Holiday, you just think about, wow, that trade, and wow, how this just elevated them to the next level. And then when Lisa Salters wanted to talk to him after on the mic, and he was just like, these are the best teammates. I have the best teammates in the league. These are the best teammates.
Of course, Morgan going to her like Bravo, Andy Cohen things like, is that a shot at his old Bucks teammates?
Is that shade, everyone? Are we going to put some stock into that?
Hey, I'm happy for this guy, man. That worked out great for him.
It did.
You know, that trade shocked him and his family. That was a big time surprise for him. And then to be in a situation where he goes from Milwaukee to Portland, then Portland ships him to Boston. Now he's headed back to the NBA Finals.
And again, this team is stacked with talent, right? But I think you look at Joe Mazzulla and just what he's been able to do with the talent. It has also, you've got to give credit to. We always do that with coaches when we're like, yeah, but they have the most talented. But then we see other coaches with talent and they shit the bed, right? And so I just think their system, their identity as a team, and how maybe he's elevated or empowered someone like Jaylen Brown to even be more aggressive and do a little bit more.
But the reality is, with their expectations, if they don't win at all, it's going to be a huge letdown.
Everyone should be fired.
And I think, you're going to hear it this week. This is the stuff that's going to pop up on talk shows and podcasts. Yeah, they had the easiest path ever to the NBA Finals. There was even a talk show a couple of weeks back in Boston that was like, oh, this isn't fun. It's like,
oh my God.
Look,
I would take this any day.
They took on teams that were banged up.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
But they won. I think if there's one area to go, well, how come we didn't see like a dominant Celtics performance? How come we didn't see a game where they beat the Pacers and just suck the soul out of them and win by 30? You haven't seen them yet. You know, I don't have a good answer for that. You know, I think, one, the Pacers play with tremendous heart and pride.
Yep.
And they have just
They
brought
don't give
it.
up.
And I admire that. And we'll talk more about them in a second. But, you know, I think the Celtics understand the mission. Like, it's to get to the NBA Finals, and their job was to get there. And now they wait to see who wins, probably playing the Dallas Mavericks, breaking news.
Hey.
And they're not, you can't be taking anybody lightly with Luka and Kyrie and that talent. And then you get Porzingis back. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like then. But ultimately, it's great. I'm sure their fans are pumped. Hey, we're back to the NBA Finals. But if they don't win it all, a complete letdown.
I mean, look at the way that they lock in late in games, and they have the ability to have that late game execution. And it's not late game execution, put Jason Tatum in ISO and like, let's go. It's late game execution as a team.
But we also know the late game execution, if you're dealing with Andrew Nembhard versus Kyrie and Luka, a little different.
It is a little different, but but yes, it is. It's absolutely a little different, and especially where we're seeing Dallas's defense. And if again, we shouldn't even go there because it could be Dallas or Minnesota. Deuce, that's so wrong of you to do that. I'm not previewing this.
It's never happened in NBA history.
We're done talking about that.
Okay,
I want to give love to the Pacers, like you were saying.
Okay, let's talk some Pacers
because you're exactly right, though. Like. You even kind of like throwing a little shade there. You know, it's Andrew Nembhard. Like, but that guy doesn't quit. He doesn't stop.
Hey.
And the fact that he stepped up when Tyrese Halliburton was out and was able to add on the offensive end as well and contribute there. I mean, just great job. What an experience for him. Now he's going to even be much better next year.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at how good he is with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
And he is still competing defensively. Mm-hmm. Like that's a huge deal for this Pacers squad. And like he's under contract, team friendly deal because he was, an early second round pick. He's a dog, dude. And for him, these last two games, he had a 30 plus in game 3 tonight. He had 24 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, a block, and a steal, 10 of 18 shooting. Dude, he was fantastic. And he didn't look the same when he played off ball.
Right.
He looks very good on ball. And it's not to take anything away, but the Pacers just have they have a lot of interesting things to think about. Like there's young talent. I mean, obviously with Tyrese Halliburton, what he's been able to accomplish, an all NBA guard this year. You got Siakam at the trade deadline. You got to figure out if you can re-sign him. You know, obviously that's the plan. They want to re-sign him. They can offer him the most. I imagine he'll re-sign there. You know, TJ McConnell, you're going to give him an extension. It just seems like, you've got TJ, Nembhard, Halliburton. There's a lot of guys that can handle the ball. And I think you want Nembhard to have the ball in his hands because look at what he was able to do against a really good defense.
Look, I mean, it's a great problem to have, though, because that's the thing. If that was something that you really thought was a style or a strategy or something that you wanted to move away from because you were like, it's not enough touches for TJ if Nembhard's on the team, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like, you figure it out, you package something together, and then you get another piece to put around Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton. My point is, it's like you see what they have, and they are just getting started. And that's what it's like. I'm so happy for them, I think, because they are a smaller market, and I like when smaller markets see more success and guys want to be there and everything. But at the same time, you are seeing like, okay, well, teams are going to adjust and figure out your style as well. Teams are going to have an answer for Pascal Siakam. It's not going to be, their OG Anunoby getting injured and, whatever, and then someone else not having the length or size. Like, there's so many more teams in the regular season for you to match up against for it to be a problem. So, like, there's just going to be things that they need to change. Again, Turner, for example, really quick. Like, he needed to have a better postseason against the Celtics. Yeah, better series and step up in different ways. And I felt like he wasn't playing the same either.
Yeah. Long term with Indiana, I mean, first things first, they won 47 games this year. Yeah. 47 games, and the trade they made to get Siakam at the deadline was significant. They changed their identity as a team, too. This team could not guard anybody early on. And you saw in the playoffs, there were times they can guard.
Yeah.
They get after it. Neesmith, what a pickup that guy was. Nembhard has been really good defensively. Siakam's defense, Turner's rim protection, even Toppin coming in and finding kind of, I don't know, I think his stock has gone way up just with his athleticism and energy off the bench, improved his shooting. TJ McConnell having the best season of his career, what he has done, just an absolute dog. The next step for them, and they've got young players here like Isaiah Jackson's energy, they're going to go as far as Tyrese Halliburton can take them. And it's going to be up to Tyrese getting healthy this offseason and expanding his game and making sure that next playoffs, he is not being picked on defensively. Doesn't need to be a lockdown defensive guy. He has to be better. He's got to get stronger. And offensively, he's got to be able to break some guys up off the dribble a little bit. Look, he's still young in this league. He does a lot of great things, but we're talking about for this team to take the next step. Yes. They're going to be a luxury tax team if they bring back a lot of these guys. So it's a challenge.
Tyrese is already a smart defender. And when I say that, like, he has the IQ and the ability to be like, I can play this passing lane, I can do this. But he needs to, like you said, he needs to be so much better on the defensive end so that he's not the one that's being hunted. And then on the offensive end, you're exactly right. How do you make sure that you're finding a way to put the ball on the floor and get handles like Steph Curry? I'm not acting like you're going to get that in one off season, but that has to be the mindset of how, if I can add that to my game, I am lethal because I'm also long. I can get in that float, I can get a nice little midi. I can get that step back three, but I'm like a little bit quicker and shiftier with my handle and my footwork. Like, again, it's like easier said than done as we're sitting here talking about it, but I feel like he can do it.
And get that off-ball movement going too. Like just all of a sudden you're playing with Nembhard handling the ball and then Tyrese is playing some off-ball a little bit.
Yeah.
And using his speed, get open. Like, get to the rim. I think down shots.
Ultimately, though, he is like, because of his vision, because of his passing ability, like, he is the creator. And I think that's where he feels the most
just talking about the optionality you could have with those two guys.
I love that we're even talking about this for the Pacers.
That's what I'm talking about. But they fought, man. Yeah. And you got to respect what they brought, because I'll tell you what, I didn't really give them a shot in that Knicks series. And I know the Knicks, were really banged up and they had to go to Game 7. But then I really was like, Boston's probably going to smack them around. And, Boston didn't really smack them around too much. I mean, Game 2, when Tyrese left and Carlisle, for whatever reason, pulled his guys like with 9 minutes to go.
So dumb.
Celtics ran away with it. But other than that, this was a close series, and they had a chance late in game to win.
Agreed. No, I'm so with you. I was taken back after watching their first series in this postseason, and like just how they played and never stopped and never went away from that identity, never went away from playing hard even when shit was going bad and everything. I was just really, really impressed with this Pacers team in this postseason especially.
So what's next for the Indiana Pacers? What do you think has to change for them to get elevated in the Eastern Conference? And how are you feeling about the Boston Celtics as they are going to the NBA Finals to try to win their 18th championship? Do you feel good about their chances, or are you like, I don't know, I'm not that impressed with Ron here? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The